left my mother and me on the island of Puyo, Palawan, to pursue his dream of earning a college degree. He left the island with no military papers, which entitled him compensation for his sacrifices as a guerrilla fighter in World War II. Halfway through his freshman year at Central Philippine College, which later on became Central Philippine University, the treasurer of that time, the late Mariano Caibang, offered my father a job as an accounting clerk at the business office. This offer started my father's journey as a working student. I was a year old when my father's determination, resilience, hard work, and trust in the faithfulness of the Lord, both my parents graduated together at CPU. I was a year old when my mother and I saw my father again. My father rose to the ranks from working student to accounting clerk, to credit manager, and ultimately to university treasurer. In April 9, 2018, 2 years before my father passed away, he was granted the Congressional Gold Medal from the United States Army Forces in the Far East for his contribution as a guerrilla fighter in the jungles of Palawan. I am the eldest of 4 girls. My sisters and I grew up in a Christian home with very humble beginnings, which was overcompensated with the fact that we lived on the campus of a university which had given us so many wholesome experiences and the blessing of knowing Jesus Christ at an early age. All 4 of us finished our kindergarten, elementary, high school, and university education at CPU, except for Rosemary, the sister next to me, who had the privilege of finishing her degree in the United States with full scholarship. Our parents taught us the value of hospitality at an early age. Growing up, I constantly have guests at home mostly of whom we do not even know. We were reminded constantly by our parents of the verse in Matthew 25:35, which says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in." My parents, especially my father, had helped many working students with advice, encouragement, and for some, a place to stay right at our house. For many years, we had work students who worked at home in exchange for free board and lodging. Every Friday evening, my parents would invite students around our community for Bible study and home-cooked meals. That was fun and interesting, especially when good-looking guys come along. Following my parents' legacy, my husband and I opened our house for anybody who needs a place to stay, most especially missionaries. It was in the year 2000 when we started welcoming Filipino caregivers in our area who had no place to go on weekends. It all started with 1, then 2, and before we knew it, we had 25 to 30 caregivers on weekends at our house. Wow. We held Bible studies with them on Friday nights, took them to church on Sundays, and on holidays we go on long trips like in Ottawa, Niagara Falls, Quebec, and other places they wanted to visit. Ultimately, these caregivers rented an apartment in Kitchener, Ontario, started a Bible study group, and finally rented a hall and started a church which is thriving to this day. I started helping in Sunday school and daily vacation Bible school at age 12 and continued to be a Sunday school teacher all through my teen years and throughout my life at CPU. I also taught Sunday school at Green Hills Christian Fellowship in Ortigas, Mandaluyong, when my husband and I, with our small family, moved to Manila in 1979. Our membership continues to this day with Green Hills Christian Fellowship, which is our home church when we are in the Philippines, and at Temple Baptist Church in Cambridge when we are in Canada. In 1986, I got a long-distance call from Canada from my high school classmate and friend, Ninpa Kahide. She requested me to accompany Lida, her sister, to the Canadian Embassy to get her visa as an immigrant. We arrived half an hour early and were surprised to see the embassy packed with people to the brim. When the embassy opened business for that day, everyone made a queue to the reception windows. I was the only one sitting. We often have impressions which seem to be from the Lord, but sometimes we brush them off. If only we would pause and ask the Lord for His wisdom. When the call is followed by an open door, we need not hesitate. That day, upon knowing that Canada is receiving immigrants' application, at first, there was a moment of hesitation for me to join the queue, but thinking that there is nothing for me to lose, I joined the queue as well. A month after that episode, my husband and I were interviewed by the Consul General himself. He even gave us his personal phone number so that we could contact him directly. In less than a year, our family was on our way to Toronto. Edwin and Emily Aros and my parents picked us up from the Pearson International Airport. At first, my husband and I planned to stay in Canada for 3 years only, get our Canadian citizenship, and go back to the Philippines. Well, that was our plan, but God had other plans for us. He provided everything for us with very little hassle on our part, so we could stay settled comfortably in Canada. In my desire to give my children the best education we could afford in Canada, my sister Rosavelli gave me a brochure of all Christian private schools in Ontario. We found an excellent private school we could afford in Cambridge, Ontario. It was subsidized by the mother church, Temple Baptist Church, and we only paid $250 a month for all 3 of our children's tuition and $80 a month for their books. This academy was well known for its strength in 3 subjects, namely Bible studies, literature, and most especially in math. Against all odds, on our 8th month in Canada, with no credit history, with only my husband as the bread earner, with every bank left and right refusing to give us a mortgage, and an interest rate for a mortgage at a high of 12% a year, and just enough money for a down payment, we were able to purchase our first house in Canada because a young, kind, and beautiful Italian mortgage broker took a gamble on us. It was a miracle. God did not only provide a house for us, but it was walking distance to our children's school, which was very crucial. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Every day I pour out my heartfelt thanks to the steadfast hand of the Lord on my life and my family. most of all, I am thankful that in our senior and retirement years, my husband and I are busier than ever, helping, supporting, and engaging in ministries handpicked by God for us. He has provided us with good health, genuine friends, and ministries with which we could work side by side with him. Let me close this testimony by reading a commentary by Mark Dever, a theologian and president of 9 Marks, a Christian ministry he co-founded in an effort to build biblical faithful churches in America. He said, if we grow as Christians or as churches, we grow for His glory, not our own. I think that is the way we see real growth. 1 Thessalonians 5:23-24 says, now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord